This is Segue, a weekly program exploring the lives and work of the people of Southern Illinois University Edwardsville.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Segue, the show that allows us to talk about issues and ideas here on the campus of Southern Illinois University Edwardsville. I'm Kevin Leonard, the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, and I'm very pleased to be here today with Bill Luan. Bill has been in the high-tech industry since he graduated from SIUE in 1985. For the past 2 decades, he has worked at Microsoft and Google, leading product development and managing technology and educational programs for industry and developers around the world. He's currently a senior program manager with Google's Coral Artificial Intelligence Platform team, which works to help industries adopt artificial intelligence and machine learning innovations. Bill was inducted into the SIUE Alumni Hall of Fame as a distinguished graduate of the SIUE Graduate School in 2016. He'll be presenting a free live stream program with Arts and Issues, sponsored by the Ann and Earl Lazerson Lecture Series, on Thursday, March 16th at 4:30 p.m. in the Mississippi-Illinois Room in the Morris University Center. His topic will be innovation opportunities in artificial intelligence and machine learning for businesses and education. Welcome to Segue, Bill.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your invitation. It's my pleasure joining here.
Well, let's begin by having you tell our audience a little bit more about yourself. So how did you become interested in computers and software?
Yeah, sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Bill Luan again. I attended SIUE from 1980 to 1984 in the School of Engineering. And after got my first BSc, Bachelor of Science Electrical Engineering degree in 84, I went on continue studying at the school and got my master's degree, MSCE, in 1985. So it's been about, 38 years now since then. I can't believe time flies. It's already been that many years past. After graduation, I went to Toledo, Ohio to join Owens, Illinois as a system engineer as my first job. And over the next decade or so, I worked for OI, or Owens, Illinois, Reynolds Metals, Siemens, among the companies in my first career in the first decade as an electrical engineer and a system engineer for manufacturing automation. And the work involving designing data acquisition systems, computer control systems, and the programs and so on, mostly for factories. I worked in glass factories, metals factories, and so on. So it is a field of industrial control, if you will. And in the mid-90s, from there, I joined Motorola, first as a software engineer, and later became a program manager for the PageWriter product. Those are the early days before the smart cell phone, where if you want to communicate, you put a pager clip on your belt and to receive a ping or any information. We developed this two-way pager called a PageWriter 2000, and I work on the software of that, and that leads to how I got into software. That was the first smart mobile phone, if you will, form factor. And people can click on the belt and walk around for doctors, firefighters, and police officers, be able to receive urgent calls and also reply. And so that was an interesting product. I worked on there for a while, 3 years there. And that leads me to Microsoft. I was recruited by Microsoft at one of the Motorola tech conference. And after I spoke, I was approached by Microsoft recruiting, and from there, I was asked to join Microsoft. So I moved to Seattle from Atlanta, Georgia, where I was my last job at the Motorola, to Seattle in late 1989. So started my a full software career job, if you will, over here at the Microsoft. So I worked at Microsoft for about 10 years. And first as a program manager for 2 product teams at Microsoft. The first product is Windows CE Active Sync, which allows users to sync data between their pocket PCs and the computers And then I work on Windows embedded operating system, which is used on many machines today. I worked at Microsoft for about a decade. And then I was introduced to the developer relation team at Google by a former Microsoft vice president who joined Google from Microsoft. So in 2008, I joined Google, and I stayed at Seattle. My home office base is still in Seattle, but I was traveling between here and our headquarters in Mountain View, California. I was the regional lead at the developer relation program for Great China region, because I speak Chinese, and they asked me to run our program in China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. And so they actually asked me to move there to work from the local office there for a couple of years. I went to Beijing and then went to Shanghai to run our programs and worked about a decade in that team. Basically work with developers, training them in open source software, mobile software development, and build a lot of open source developer communities to promote open internet, open source, and worked for them about a decade. And then followed one of my team managers to my current team, which is called the Coral team. It is a product team we developed for artificial intelligence platform containing both hardware and software to enable industry use AI. So this is pretty much my career path, if you will, since I graduated from SIUE. So that was a quick summary, if you will, of my last 38 years.
Well, that's really fascinating because it sounds as if you started out doing what might be considered kind of traditional electrical engineering in the manufacturing process, but then you moved into software development and took a different path. Is that right?
Yeah, that's actually, it's a great question. Lots of people even ask me that, how you wind up doing a lot of things related to software where you actually study hardware. Mm-hmm. And and I, sometimes I would even jokingly say, yeah, maybe I should have studied computer science. But what happened is, as the computer or the computer revolution really getting started from the mid 90s all the way up to today, computer being used pervasively across the industry. Even as we're doing hardware, when we're dealing with manufacturing control, automations, it's always has something to do with computers. So even though my first job was all related to hardware design, but and the more it got into software. The hardware computers you have to run program there, so you get involved with you write programs on those computers. So even though the work is hardware related, especially in manufacturing automation, but because you have to work on those programs behind, it eventually just gets more and more into software. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the two is very tightly related, but you can see how software plays a very important role today.
Right. Well, and now you're working in artificial intelligence. So can you tell us exactly what artificial intelligence is?
Yeah, so AI is a field that has been, got a lot of industry and the press attention lately due to the progress in the industry. Artificial intelligence, or what we call AI, it is just the ability of a computer or a machine to almost acting like a human to be able to think and learn. And strictly speaking, AI, it is a branch of computer science that deals with the creation of intelligent machines, or sometimes being called intelligent agents, which basically are systems, combination of both software and a lot of times in hardware as well, that can learn, reason, and predict. Which leads to many innovations today, because industries, businesses everywhere wants to use such capabilities of computers and to help their industry to do better. So it has become a very successful, a very attractive field among many people in the industry, whether you're doing has anything to do with computer hardware or has anything to do with computer software, because the application of AI is become wide, and very pervasive in the field today.
Now, are there places where AI is used that people may not realize that it's being used very frequently? There's been, as you mentioned, there's been a lot of attention to AI in the press recently, but is there much more going on behind the scenes that we might not realize?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say where AI is used in the industry, in factories, warehouses, truck fleet management, scientific research in places not so public facing, and people probably not aware of their use. Where self-driving cars, robotics, and including healthcare, for example, these are the fields AI being used and probably more prominent to the public because actually they, people are dealing with them. For example, robots. I heard a story that one of my friends was telling me he checked in a hotel in Silicon Valley, and as soon as he got into a room, somebody knocked on the door, he opened, and there's a robot standing there. He says, "You want some water?" And so that is an example, if you will, is the interaction of AI in the form of robotics, where public, see and interface with. Self-driving car is another field, right? That's very clear. AI programs using in those cars, interact with the public. And doctors using a lot of machines to do diagnostics, and in the healthcare industry, where AI is also one of the field used, well known to public. But in many behind-the-scene applications, like in the factory automation, where AI is being used in machines, be able to tell a good product versus bad product, or to do packaging sorting, put on the bins in warehouses, for example. Or AI is being used in detect fraud, managing risks in finance, in investment decisions. These are the things people probably not aware of them because you don't see them as you see robots or self-driving cars.
Oh, okay. So, for example, there may be computers that are actually monitoring transactions in banking and looking for patterns, and then really then the computer is learning what to look for, what might be a red flag in terms of fraud or some kind of security threat.
Yeah, the computer behind the scene on those runs what we call a machine learning model, ML model. There's different kinds of ML models that help people to do these kind of detection, observation, categorization, and managing these kind of things. That including exactly like you said, detecting risks and managing systems. And so yeah, there's very wide application in AI.
Okay. Well, you mentioned machine learning. So what's the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning, or is there a difference?
Yeah, well, AI is a general term. We refer them the ability, again, for computers or machines to think and learn. But machine learning is a subset of AI. It's one of the fields in AI because AI, including some other areas. But machine learning is a one that got the most attention in the recent years because what we call, again, ML model, machine learning models, the advancement in technology in machine learning models for machine be able to learn and be able to do things advanced so much that got lots of attentions. And machine learning is basically it's a statistic technique to give the computers to learn from a set of data and be able to learn and be able to do prediction without a human to reprogram the system, reprogram what's driving it. In other words, the computer will be able to do detections and making decisions based on the changing of the data, but it does not require a human to reprogram it. And that's where the meaning of the learning came from, because it is the intelligence in the machine that adjusts itself, if you will. And so that is the machine learning. So in a broader sense, AI is a concept and it's a wide span area. Machine learning is a specific technique to help computers to learn.
Okay. Well, we've talked about how AI and machine learning are being used now. How can they be used in the future, particularly in business? And I'm of course, I mostly am concerned about this as an educator and being aware of a lot of the attention to Chat GPT. I'm interested in your thoughts about what lies ahead for AI.
Yeah, this is a great question. AI, we see AI to be a very exciting field because of so much potential that computer can do to help human, in terms of improve productivity, efficiency in business, and just the general, for the well-being of livelihood of people everywhere. You mentioned ChatGPT. That's one of the development advancement in most recently got a lot of attention. That is one of the what we call natural language processing AI that use the technology to have a machine be able to carry on a natural language pattern with a human that you interact with the machine, the way it feeds back, instead of program code or anything cryptical, you can interact with machine just with a natural language as if you talk to another human, right? So this is a field that use AI technology to bring the communication between human and machine to be to the next level, to be what we call natural, is like it's almost you talk to a human. So that is a field that has a huge potential, like you mentioned in education, for example, using the knowledge the machine gain from the data everywhere. In fact, the historical data, the machine be able to look what being posted online and what the data generated from historical data. And from that, it derives the conclusions of any specific questions. And so in education, particularly, it will be very helpful for researchers, students, professors who wants to learn something. Instead of you manually do many different searches, try to find a concept, you can just carry on almost a natural language conversation, if you will, with the machine in programs like ChatGPT, and there are others in the industry that allow you to be able to get the content, get the data in a very natural way of flow. The information the computer will gather and generate for you and present to you. So yeah, that makes it very easier for people to use. And in education field, there's a lot of usages. But then again, beyond the education in the industry, there are many wide uses in customer services, in sales, in marketing, finance, human resources, and so on. They are going to be very useful in such capabilities. And lastly, I just want to mention to say in education, AI specifically could help in the area of to improve personalized learning. AI can help create a personalized learning materials based on each student's test score and the learning habit and so on, and produce materials to help the students to learn in a specific way that increase their learning efficiency. Secondly, in terms of feedback, AI can help to provide much better feedback to students' work because AI can analyze how the students' progress is and help students identify areas where they could improve and to track their progress. And lastly is the automation, which help automate the tasks such as grading papers, providing feedbacks, scheduling appointments for students, between students and professors, and so on. So as we see down the road in the future, all these things will become reality for students more and more. So more than just the chat, but different tools could be developed to add education. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Yes. Well, and as somebody who spent many years grading papers in history, I always imagined it would be wonderful to have a computer that could grade those papers for me. But
it will come very soon. It will come very soon.
Okay. And I also, as somebody who has at various points in my life had a long commute, I always was hoping for self-driving or autonomous vehicles to arrive so that I could work or read while I was commuting to work, but it hasn't happened yet. But
yeah. It started in a few cities and states, but I think eventually it will be everywhere.
Okay, well, now of course in the the kind of higher education press, there's a lot of concern about what the ethical issues that ChatGPT in particular raises in terms of the possibility that students will not be submitting original work. So
Yes.
are there larger ethical issues that artificial intelligence in general raises?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. In AI field, there are actually many researchers are working on improving looking these issues, the ethical issues of AI, how AI can contribute to the positive development of the society, also by avoiding the risks or the negative impact, the negative side, where the computer could potentially enlarge in the negative things we see on internet. It will promoting these. So there are various researchers going on and people working on this field to look into it. A couple of examples coming to mind. So for students using ChatGPT or similar tools in the future, right? As you referred to, students could easily submit, let's say, a paperwork that is not his or her original work. Could be easily, because computer generated the contents very close to what's being done by a human. Sometimes the material produced by a computer looks like as a human write the essay, and that is a plagiarism in a sense because the students didn't do the work. So there are already effort underway. There are tools being developed. You probably heard there's a interesting tool called GPT-0, where the professors can take any student's work and submit it, and just by analyzing the text or the paragraphs written in the paragraph, the program be able to tell whether this content is machine learning generated, AI generated content, or is being human generated. Of course, I don't think it's 100% accurate, but at least you have tools like this can help the professors to catch plagiarism, or if somebody just submit work is not his work, it's just purely done by machine, right? So that's the tools. More tools will be like these will be developed by technologists to help education professors, researchers to detect these kind of things. But also, so these are the tools area, but then also along with it, the education of how AI should be used ethically and what are the principles relates to AI ethics. There are people working on develop a guidelines, principles, and those will be hopefully integrated in the future education program to let people know what are the things you should do with AI, what are the things you should be aware that is not supposed to do. It's almost, I would say, like the concept of laws, right? Throughout the history, thousands of years ago, people probably don't have the concept of you following the law. But as civilization developed, these are the things getting better. So the ethics of AI with more guidelines and the principles and a better education, hopefully these will getting better and avoid the society, being taken advantage of by the bad guys and doing unethical things. So this is indeed a field that lots of people paying attention right now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad to hear you talk about that, because I personally am not one of those alarmists who feels as if, now students are going to always just engage in academic dishonesty. And I appreciate knowing more about the fact that there are ways in which AI can actually be used to prevent the misuse of AI. So
Yeah.
So now, I mentioned that you'll be delivering a live stream presentation on March 16th. Can you offer us a preview of your talk?
Oh, yes. So I was invited by, I believe, was School of Science and Arts. And there was a lecture was by the former SIUE president, Earl, Dr. Earl Lazerson. There's a Lazerson's series of lecture in mathematics and with the School of Science and Arts. So I was invited to give a lecture this month, and I will be talking about the AI in terms of its industry applications, and a little bit more specifically about the Coral product that my team at Google, we have been working on in the last, I would say 4 years now, which is again a product enable businesses industry around the world, as well as students, computer makers, and so on, to use AI in variety of fields. So I will be covering the basic ideas of AI, explaining a lot of things exactly like you asked in the questions so far, understanding between the difference between AI and a variety of some other related field, and then talk about a lot of industry use cases of our product, how Google Coral is being used by many businesses around the world for innovation, bring innovation and creative services and product offerings to use AI to make lives better and make a business more productive, efficient for people everywhere. So that will be the content of my lecture.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. So I like to end each interview by asking my guests to offer some advice for our listeners. So what advice would you give to a person who's considering studying technology and particularly artificial intelligence?
Yeah, great question. I would say for students already determined or decide wanted to get into the field of AI, the first thing is in school at least, right? It is the get yourself build a good foundation for your future career, future work that artificial intelligence development could rely on, which is basically mathematics, physics, and engineering disciplines. So having classes in school learning these will be helpful for your future career to be a computer scientist, for example, working in AI. That is a field require very, very heavy concentrated attention to mathematics, physics. So like a computer algorithm, always a set of programs with mathematics formulas involved. So have a solid foundation in these, it will be very beneficial for people who decided wants to get into this field. But beyond that, AI again can be used by many fields. So if you as a student learning some other majors, right? Even if, for example, in business, medical services, or some other principles of engineering and so on, definitely, or very likely, you will encounter AI use in the future. So as a practitioner in your own business field, that you could use AI to help your own business field, you may not get involved into details of designing the AI algorithm, but to have a concept of how leveraging AI to help your own field is in the area that you could start helping yourself building the foundations for that. And that is to have a good insight into the current general application field among different computer science fields and especially AI, and see how these things can help bring efficiency into your own field. You may not care a particular algorithm, but you should be able to learn or have some insights and knowledge to say how I can leverage these and to build the things for my own field. For example, one of the fields in AI is called vision, machine learning vision. The vision AI is to using computers help you identify, classify different things. So if you are working in a field, let's say agriculture, this is one of the examples I will cover in my lecture, right? You could use a machine learning the vision model feature to help you identify different fruits, different plants, and so on. And or if you are in a medical service field, AI could help you use to identify things in a medical system. So have this kind of keenness or sense of how do I apply the advance in these technologies to my own fields. It could be very beneficial for any students who future in their career to advance their career by applying these in their field. Again, you don't care about the specific algorithm, how particular machine learning model is made, but to use the capability of these machine learning models and the AI product to help you make your own products, your services better. And so this applied to a very wide range of students, more than just the people in computer science or AI field, right? Business, engineering, and even, School of Science, many other fields. It can be very beneficial. So have a very open mind, have a very good sense of wants to know the development trend of computer science and AI. It will be beneficial to you down the road.
Well, that sounds like really great advice. So thank you so much, Bill Luan, for talking with us about your work. I'm looking forward to your live stream lecture on March 16th entitled Innovation Opportunities in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning for Businesses and Education. The event is free, but tickets are required. For more information and to reserve tickets, visit artsandsissues.com. And for our listeners, thank you for joining us. Stay safe and take care.
This has been Segue, a production of the Department of Mass Communications at Southern Illinois University Edwardsville. All rights reserved.